If you like this video, why not subscribe?
Hey everybody, welcome back to another frugal review. Today we are going to look at the Fotodiox macro tube. This costs about $10 on Amazon, and in case you're wondering what a macro tube does, well, if you have an interchangeable lens camera, what it does is it will space your lens far enough away from your sensor that lets you get really close to your subject for extreme close-ups. Now in the photo world, you see these kind of shots all the time. In the film world or narrative filmmaking world, they might not have a place as often. They're kind of a specialty shot, but if you ever see something like close-up of an insect or an eyeball or something like that, this will come in very handy. And considering the price tag, it's not too bad. Of course, there's a few catches when using this, and I'll explain those in a minute. But this is made out of aluminum. It's very lightweight. The construction seems pretty solid. There is no moving parts in it except for one, which is the lens release right here, and it's basically got a camera mount on the front and back. This one's for the Sony NEX, and it attaches very simply, much like a lens. You know, you align the dots and turn till it clicks, and there you go. You then put your lens on the end of the macro tube like so, line the dots, twist till it clicks. This is a 50mm 1.7 Minolta lens. And that's one thing I should point out right up front here, is that this tube is really only good for manual lenses because it's what's known as kind of a dumb adapter, meaning that there is no electronic pass-through in this macro tube. So if you have a lens like the Sony NEX kit lens, it's got a little interface right here. You can kind of see all the electronic contacts, and that allows you to control your focus and aperture through the camera. And you can't do that with this adapter because there's no electronic pass-through. So this will only work with vintage lenses or lenses that have external focus and aperture control, which is fine for me because I have a lot of these vintage lenses and I like them. So this tube is perfect for that. If you don't have any lenses like that, this will not do you any good, so you might as well save your 10 bucks. But I think you probably aren't watching this review anyway if you don't have some kind of manual lens, because you're not going to find any kind of a macro tube with electronic pass-through for $10. So at any rate, this spaces your lens far enough away so you can get really close in on your subjects, which is kind of another catch about this, is that when using this 50 here, which is more like a 75 because of the crop sensor, I had to get within like 2 inches of my subject to be able to see anything. The shallow depth of field created by this macro tube is insane, which means you need to be in exactly the right spot, and your focus ring is kind of negligible here. You just sort of turn it to infinity, and then you move the entire camera back and forth. You can do that a couple ways, turning your tripod into a bipod by just using 2 legs and moving it back and forth. Using a monopod will work. Of course, then you're going to have stability issues when you actually start rolling. But another thing you can use is a macro slider rail like this one. These cost about between $12 and $14. I'll leave links below for all this stuff. But it's got an adjustment here. You attach this to your tripod, you attach your camera to this, and then you can then make adjustments with this knob here and then lock it down with this knob. This is also what the Frugal Floater is built on, but this is the original intended purpose, was to be able to move your camera back and forth. So what if you can't get within 2 inches of your subject, but you still would like to use this? You know, maybe if you're trying to shoot insects or something, and you know you get too close and they're going to fly away or crawl away or run away or whatever. So one thing you can do, I found out, was that you can increase your focal length or use a longer lens. You can't use a shorter lens because every time I use something shorter, such as a 35mm or a 28, you just had to get right on top of your subject and made it really impractical. But when I used a longer lens, this is a 135mm prime. It's a Minolta Celtic, if you're curious. I now have an incredibly long lens on my camera, but I'm also able to be farther away when I'm shooting. I can get about a foot away and shoot whatever shot I needed, which was much better in all the situations that I found. I mean, there might be a situation where you'd have to get really close, or maybe the really close quarter shooting. But this is kind of best, I think, for most situations. But this also adds a couple extra things you have to worry about. The first one was, I noticed, due to the way the macro tube is built, I believe, when I would put this adapter on, which is has a tripod mount on it, which is good because the extra glass you're adding onto the front here is going to get heavier and heavier as your lens gets longer. And if that's attached to your camera onto the macro tube, it's going to add a lot of weight to your camera mount, which could damage it, especially on a small camera like this. So I didn't want to do that, so I'm using a lens mount here, or a lens adapter, also made by Fotodiox, coincidentally, that has a tripod mount on the bottom, so I can put attach my camera to the tripod like so, which then creates more of a balance, doesn't add any extra weight to the camera, and so everybody's happy. However, if you notice that when I mount this on my tripod, notice the camera is now tilted, and I think this is because of the way the lens mounts are built into the macro tube. Now, so this means you're having a sensor in your camera that's now at an angle, so every shot is going to be canted unless you do something about it. I noticed this in several shots, and there are ways to fix it while you're shooting. One is simply to adjust your tripod, raise one of the legs so that it will turn this from being at an angle to horizontal. It just means that your tripod is offset a little bit, which is fine. Or you can correct the shot in post. So it's not too big of a deal. And it's definitely worth it to use a longer lens like this, going back to that, because your focus ring actually means something now. The throw on your focus is much greater, which means that you don't have to completely focus moving your camera back and forth, but you can also use you can use your focus ring now, which you really couldn't on the 50 because it just didn't really do anything. So that's basically it. I like this adapter because I have a lot of manual lenses, so it works out for me. Again, if you don't have manual lenses and they're all the electronic variety, this adapter is going to do nothing for you because it's going to kill the connection between the camera and the lens, so I wouldn't bother. But if you have manual lenses that have aperture and focus control right on the lens, this will be perfect. If you want to get those super tight macro shots, which can come in handy for various things that you're shooting. You might need one once in a while. It's like you need a crane shot once in a while. You don't use it all the time, but when you do need it, it's handy to have it. So again, this is the Fotodiox macro extension tube for the Sony NEX. About $10 on Amazon. I recommend it. So that's my frugal review for today. If you want any more information about frugal filmmaking, come to my blog, thefrugalfilmmaker.com, and we'll see you next time.